Welcome everyone. Thank all of you for coming. After looking at the crowd here today, the next Booster Club meeting is going to be because of, I don't know, maybe the soccer team or the volleyball team, because we have more people here today, and I'm sure it's for the basketball people. But thank you very much for coming out. My name is Rich Dussel, president of the Booster Club, and we're going to get started right away because this is a special event. This is a congratulations to our basketball team. Where's Coach Coeur, though?
Right here.
Oh, I have heard Coeur clap while he's at the game, and in fact, I wear hearing aids, and I'm thinking I have to take them out because he claps so loud. So we have some gloves for him.
Hey.
Keep him quiet.
Well,
And George, we need some color from George on his feet. Don't worry about the cardinal part, you're walking on that end of it. But you have to wear these over your pants when you come on.
a little small.
Yeah, they're very small.
Thank you.
But speaking of small, where's Sammy?
He left.
He left. Oh, well, Sammy was just here, and Sammy has grown. And he's taller than George now. I saw it happen. Okay, without further ado, Al.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Welcome. Thanks, Rich, for introducing everybody here. Glad everybody could come out here. Like Rich said, it was an impromptu meeting, and you all showed up, so I'm glad you all can make it out here. We've been waiting for this moment for the last 15 years. This is my 15th year as the AD, and this is the first region championship we've had since I've been here for basketball. We've been ranked #1 in the nation. We've been SWAC champions. We made the championship in the SWAC 3 times, and Corey's been here on the staff for 14 years. This is his 4th year as a head coach. We always talk about setting goals for the year, and in the fall we talked about what kind of team we had coming back, and finished just short last year. We talked about being back here again, and just that that sad, empty feeling when we walked away last year as the #1 seed and walked away in defeat, and he had his whole team focused to getting back here this year, and had some ups and downs throughout the course of the year, but it was just fun seeing the development of this program as far as the leadership and some decisions that were made, bringing kids out of red shirt, having some ups and downs, going down to the peninsula or going down to California and having a tough loss down there, but it was just fun to see the growth of this ball club. And the good thing about it is that even though we were almost out of the playoffs at one point, I'll let Corey tell a lot of that story, but this team has gone through so much. They recovered from last year with George's injury, and they had that rallying cry last year, and they fell short. This year, it was just getting a whole new blend of players coming back, and not many returning starters coming back. And to have this turn out was just a spectacular year. So it was neat just to follow this whole journey. We went on several road trips and watched them down in California, and I talked a lot of trash over the course of the year because I knew the kind of team he had coming back, and I kind of set him up for some defeats down there in California, which I know he regretted that later. I was telling everybody in California how good our ball club was. We immediately went down there and got our tails whipped. Second game of the year by a team that had players about the size of George playing the post. It was humbling, to say the least. But it was just kind of fun to see they rallied around that, and all the time, I think after that Peninsula game, I wanted to call George and his whole staff, Corey, and decide and say, where are we headed from here? And to see where they came from that loss at Peninsula, I didn't want to bring that video there because I think that we all would have given up if we just seen how we played in that game. But to see where they came, it was just such a fun journey with all these guys and see where they came from. But the good thing about it is we made this change in the NJCAA 4 years ago. The outdoor sports went away to play in the NWAC 4 years ago, and we had that last run with the undefeated ball club and with Brian Angola and BJ Blake. We got out to the national tournament. We fell 1 game short there, very first game back, and just that feeling about that was our last run with a national championship and what would the new league bring for us. And no one really knew what to expect. We knew it was going to be a competitive league, but didn't know how competitive it was going to be. And as many of you have seen throughout the course of the last 2 years, it really has been a competitive league. It's a different style of ball that you see in the NWAC, but it's still a bit competitive. And so even though we set our goals high, it kind of was a wake-up call last year when we didn't make it to the championship game last year. But having us be in the NWAC, I think, was a learning experience for us as far as, like Corey's always said, it's kind of like being, jumping from the Pac-12 to the Big Sky. But it's just a whole different style of ball that you see in the NWAC, and I didn't quite know what to expect when we got in the Louis. But when you saw the different style of play, and we lost some games to teams that looked like they didn't have as much talent as us on paper, I didn't know what we had gotten ourselves into. So it was just kind of neat to see how the players rallied around this year. We had some really excruciating losses throughout the course of the year, and then to gather to this point, it's just kind of a nice experience for all of us. So we brought you all here. We're going to let Corey come up here and talk about this whole year, but we're just so proud of where he's taken us, the staff, what they've been through, the staff he's created, the players who hung through this whole deal, and brought us back to the championship level. So I'll bring up our head coach, and he'll introduce his players. We want to introduce head coach Corey Simmons.
Thanks, Al. First of all, just want to obviously thank all you boosters for all your support, not with just men's basketball, with athletics in general here. We have one of the, if not one of the, but the best athletic department in all the NWAC and one of the best in the country. And that is definitely not done without the support of our boosters. So thank you guys for all you do. We actually had a huge turnout. I was actually really surprised at the turnout we had of fans and boosters that showed up to that game. So I know you guys hear me every week. You don't get to hear a lot of the other people that have come with me. So I'm going to keep mine really short and let you hear from some other people, some new faces. But it's been a great year. You always hear in coaching, you always hear about the process, and it's important for our guys to understand that. And the process that we went through this week or this year to win a championship is what's really special. The relationships these guys have had with each other and built with each other on the court, off the court, through fights, through arguments, through getting slapped. On Coeur.
Always good.
So all that stuff, we always talk when we break. Every time we break at practice or anything, Jalen always breaks us with family, and this is kind of our family away from our family. And with that, obviously, there's ups and downs, as you all know. But these guys did a great job of learning from their mistakes, getting better every day, and kind of turning the corner to winning a championship. And it's great to bring this championship back. It's what we strive for at the beginning of the year. It's what we strive for every year, and it's great to bring it back. A couple things with the season. Obviously, we did have some down times. Basically, where we came in the recruiting process. We had a great group of guys that we recruited. These guys are excellent players. Well, we knew we were lacking, me and Coach G, when we put this team together, we knew we were lacking a little bit of leadership. Okay, we only had 3 guys coming back, Jalen, Drew, and Chuck. And with that being said, in the past years, we've always had 6 or 7 guys coming back that knew our program, knew what we expected, knew how to get the freshmen in check and where they should be. And we kind of knew that was going to be a little problem. And it did pose a problem early on in the season. Fighting for playing time. I mean, we're really deep. We got a long, if you've seen us play, the poor NWAC showed up with the championship T-shirts. They had 12 T-shirts. I'm like, well, we got 20 guys. We need more T-shirts. And well, most teams don't have 20 guys on the bench, so we're pretty deep. It took us a little bit of time to kind of get that camaraderie and get our roles down, figure out where everybody stood and what their part of the team was. And once we got that situated, it was pretty special. With that being said, we always talk about our old team when we were number 1 in the country, we went undefeated, how hard it was to coach those guys because we didn't lose. When you don't lose, all our players, coach, what are you yelling at us for? What are you freaking out about? We were winning. And this group did a great job of taking losses and learning from those losses and getting better. When we were down in San Jose, we did take a little butt whooping from somebody that we shouldn't have, and I think we were in the locker room for about 2 or 3 hours. Okay, poor TJ was out in the van warming up the van, and we were in the locker room for about 2 hours. We just said, we're not leaving this locker room until we figure this out. And we just had what I like to say, a come to Jesus meeting with all of us and figure out kind of what we had to do to move forward, and we did that. So it's great. It was a lot of fun. We'll talk a little bit more about the games. Obviously, if you saw the games, there were three overtimes in the entire tournament, and we played in all 3 of them. A double overtime win over Everett, the host team, and then an overtime win in the championship, obviously. And we were trying to Richard was we were talking about this on the way home. I don't know that's got to be close to potentially the biggest comeback in the NWAC. I mean, we were down 20 with 17 minutes left. So there was a little time on the bench. I looked at G and said, after this year, we had such a great year, we're going to go out we're going to get blown out in the championship. Like, is this really going to happen? We kind of looked at the staff, and we got a great staff, and we kind of put our heads together. And for once, I listened to Bill and Russ, and we changed up our defense, and it actually worked. So let me make a couple introductions. I'll let some other people talk a little bit too. So first of all, you talk about in order to be successful, you got to surround yourself with successful people. We've done a great job of that. We've put together a great staff here, which it's obviously we have one staff full-time with us, and then the other guys are volunteers, and they just love the team, they love the camaraderie, they love basketball, and they love being a part of it. So it's really hard to get those type of people that'll buy in to your program when you're paying them nothing with food. We pay them with food. We buy them lunch and shirts. So it's great to do that. So first off, we brought Colby Denton. Stand up, Colby. Colby came to us from West Seattle High School. So Colby's from West Seattle High School. If you guys remember, if you're real Cardinal fans, you remember back to the greatest shot in Cardinal history when Melvin Jones hit the full court shot against CSI to beat him. Melvin's brother coached with Colby at West Seattle, so when Colby moved over here, he called me and said, "Hey, you and Colby need to get together. He wants to stay in the basketball game. You need to get him on your staff." So it's great to have Colby. Next, we got Will Richardson. Will's a basketball knowledge. He knows more than most of us. He does great individual workouts. He works our team out really hard. Tries to fix their shots. Some of them is pretty hard to do, Alfonso. But tries to fix their shots. Works hard with them. He coached in the NWAC, but he was at Grace Harbor over in Washington, and his family stayed here in Spokane. So we brought him back to get him a little bit closer to his family, and he's been a great addition to our staff. For all you local guys, you probably know the next guy, Russ Giles. The reason I say that, the local guys, Russ spent 20 years coaching at Coeur d'Alene High School, on both the boys and the girls side. And then, things just kind of, he got a new job, went a little straight, he wanted to get back into it, and we just, it's kind of funny. About a year and a half ago, we ran into each other at a game, and I said, "Hey man, you can get back to coaching, come help us." He's like, "Yeah, well, let's talk about it." And then a year later, he called me up, "Hey, you really want to sit down and talk?" "Yeah, let's do it." So he came back, but he's been a huge asset to our staff too. Got a full-time job. His boss is great, lets him out to come to luncheons and work and that whole thing. Never missed a game. I kind of gave him the, "Hey, I understand you're a volunteer if you need to miss for work." Never missed a practice, never missed a game. Really bought into the program. So thanks for your help, Russ. And then, obviously, the backbone behind our program, George. Stand up, G. No, go ahead, stand up. We always give George the small jokes.
Settle down.
Stand in the chair, George.
We always talk about our program with George, and G is obviously a huge asset to our program and to our college. I always tell people that I was just fortunate enough to be in the room when Al hired me, so my door says head basketball coach, but it really needs to be on his door, because he's really the backbone of our program, does a lot of our recruiting, keeps our guys in check, does all the behind the scenes work. And fellas, who would you rather have mad at you, me or George? Yeah, they don't want George mad at him. They don't want G mad at him. So a little story with G. After our semifinal game? After our semifinal game, we go back to the hotel. We hand out they bring all their uniforms to Coach G's hotel room, because we make sure we keep track of those, because if they keep them, they'll lose them. So Coach G has this little routine. You set them outside his door, nice and neat, folded up in piles. Well, poor Jake, our Canadian, we always got to mess with Jake, because he's the nicest kid in the world, but he ain't the brightest. Huh, Jake? So he comes. He's the last one to bring in uniforms, and he puts his jersey and his warm-up shirt and those shorts. And Coach G goes, "Where's your shorts?" "I don't know, Coach. I don't know." And Jalen was with him. Who else was with you? Brody, and you could just see steam coming out of Coach G's ears. "What do you mean you don't know where your shorts are?" "I don't know where my shorts are." He said, "Well, take your jersey and your other stuff and get out of here and don't come back here until you get your shorts." And he had a few words to say with him. So I come down and G's steaming mad and just yelling at me. So I'm like, okay, I gotta go figure out what's going on. So I go to Jake's room and half the team's digging through bags looking for shorts. And I said to Jalen was helping him. I said, "Jalen, what are you doing?" "Man, I gotta find Jake's shorts." I said, "Well, you gotta find Jake's shorts. You didn't lose him." He said, "Because if he's mad at Jake, he's gonna be mad at me too. He's gonna yell at me. He's gonna rip all of us if he can't find them shorts." So the whole team was looking for shorts, and sure enough, Ashanti found them and saved Jake, because Jake was gonna. He literally, Coach G said, "If you don't find those shorts, you're not getting a uniform tomorrow. You're not playing." So he's pretty hard nosed on him, but you know he's the backbone of our program, and he's really what helps us build with the recruiting and all these kids that are coming in. He does a great job recruiting, and he never stops working. So thanks for everything you've done, G. I know a couple of them are. We'll get into the players here in a second, but if any of the coaches want to say something, I know Russ always likes to talk. Russ, you got anything to say? G, come on, G. G hates talking. So come on, man.
Come on.
I don't know where we start with this group. I guess for me, it goes back with Chuck and the guys from last year that spent time in the hospital with me.
You got it, Coach.
Shoot.
You said keep when you cry.
Hey, Gene, there's one thing you need to tell these guys.
I know.
You need to tell them you're like a dime and a handful of nickels. You're not quite as big, but you're worth twice as much. Remind them.
You know, is the Drews and the Chucks that really helped me get through a lot. And you know, Chuck means a lot. He sacrificed a lot this year. It's gonna be tough to see him leave. But I don't know. After halfway through this year, you know, I had to convince Corey for the whole ride from Yakima.
Because the bus was not there. They got trapped in the car.
Yeah. So me, Corey, Russ, and Bill rode back in the car after a loss in Yakima, and I think that was the turning point of this group. You know, it took 3 hours in the middle of the night. I knew he wouldn't be able to sleep because he's scared of us hitting a deer again. So we talked the whole way home about I had to convince him to pull Chuck's red shirt year, and he was totally against it the whole ride home. And I just kept saying, he's the leadership this group doesn't really have. And the things, you know, Chuck would text me all the time when we were on the road about this group, and me and Chuck were talking after the loss, texting back and forth, and I told him, I said, would you be willing to let your redshirt year go to help this group out? And I knew it was tough after missing 15 games and coming back, and he told me, I'll do anything to help this group. I'll do anything to help the team. And I knew right then that he was what we needed to finish this year. But now it was my job to convince him that it was the right thing to do. And I think it took the whole 3 hours home to get that done. And then once Chuck came back, I think we kind of gelled as a group, and it's been fun. It goes way back to, like, I think a year ago when we were in the same situation, and I just think back all the sacrifices that the guys made by spending nights, because I wouldn't want to sleep by myself at the rehab place. We had guys that were willing to do just about anything to help this team, and former players that come back and call all the time. I think they help these guys out, and this is fun for me. It's been, I think, 3 years in the making for us. The first year, I think, when I came in, was the best talented group we've ever had, and I think we totally underachieved, me and Corey, at getting the best out of them. And after that, we kind of took a vow that, we were going to get to know our players a little bit better. And the following year was the year that we had the 30-0 team. We spent a lot of time with the guys, and ever since then, we've been doing a lot of things with these guys, and it feels kind of good to kind of finally finish it all the way off. We've been doing this for 4 years, and we've been pretty close, and we finally get one. I don't know how to feel. It's just been fun.
It's like hugging my daughter. Actually, it's not like hugging my daughter because she's taller, but it's like hugging my son. A couple things like what G's talking about is when I talk about building our staff and bringing guys in that understand basketball and know what's going on. Two of the biggest moments of this year were when G convinced me to bring Chuck back, and then I was about up to here with Chuck at one point, and I was done with him. And Russ convinced me to go have a one-on-one conversation with Chuck. And I said, no, forget Chuck. Forget Chuck. He's acting like a little baby. Forget it. He can sit his little butt on the bench the rest of it. And Russ talked to me. I said, no, coach, you need to have a talk with him. So I'm like, no, Russ, you're wrong. And then eventually I did it. And Chuck and I were on the same page, looking at the same thing, just differently. Once me and Chuck came on the same page, our season really turned again. So that was really huge for us. But like I said, George has been a huge inspiration to our team and does a great job with the guys. And we still keep in contact with all of our players because of the relationships that we build with them. It's about, obviously, relationships for us. Obviously, winning is a great thing, and we like to win championships. But more than championships, it's about developing relationships with these guys and helping them learn life lessons. So let's introduce a couple of the players. We'll introduce all the players, and then we'll let a couple of them talk. I'll go around the table. So stand up when I call you out. Connor Chapman from O'Day High School. Okay. Our local, Brody Lundblad. Yes, I've yelled at him as much as his high school coaches. Ashanti Potts Woods. Who, if you watch this game, pretty much single-handedly brought us back into this thing. So Ashanti scored 22 points in the second half, and we were down 20. 23. 23? Sorry, 23. My fault. He's all about scoring points, so we can't take one away from him. Milan Lester from Connecticut. Mookie. Tyler Brimhall. Utah. Tyler was a University of Idaho transfer, and to talk about the relationships we build with our players, Tyler was leaving University of Idaho, played at University of Idaho last year, was leaving University of Idaho and had 10, 15 national JUCOs recruiting him, and he chose us because our former player was friends with him at Idaho and said, no, man, you need to go to North Idaho. So that's the kind of relationships we have with our guys, and he buddied up with BJ, and BJ said, man, if you're going to leave, you need to go to North Idaho. And a little bit about Tyler, too. He took a hip pointer in the semifinal game, went down hard. He's been a huge part of our season and our success. He went down hard and didn't know if he didn't play the rest of our semifinal game. We pulled that win out, and we didn't know if we were going to get him back for the championship game. And he could barely walk at the hotel. Obviously, we have the greatest training staff in the world with Randy and Logan there working on him. We still weren't sure, even with their miracles that they performed, we weren't sure if he was going to do it. And he said to me the morning of the championship, Coach, I don't care what we got to do. I didn't come this far to sit this game out. And you can see if you watch this game, you can see him just move the wrong way, and he just sharp pain. He'd almost go to the ground. He'd get back up and keep fighting. So that was a little bit of what our team was about. Kyrie McCraven. From Hawaii. A big piece to our puzzle was a transfer semester, Alfonso Anderson. He came over from Montana. He was on a full scholarship at Montana and left Montana, came over a semester, and he fit right in with the group, fit right in with them, and kind of helped lead the guys from the sideline. Talks a little bit too much trash, but I think we probably got 4 or 5 ref warnings from our bench, and we're like, oh, it's Alfonso at the end. He's the one yelling. Okay. Raekwon Evans. Raekwon obviously had an amazing tournament. I'll let him talk about that a little bit too. Keegan. Say less, bro. Anytime he gets mad, he just says, say less, bro, say less. Okay. Drew Sheridan. Drew's a big piece of what we've done, and our second-year guy in redshirted due to a knee problem. The brains behind our operation, Jake Callie, our Canadian. So what we've tried, Jake is I don't want to be too, he's too honest sometimes. I don't know, he's probably told on himself 6 times this year. I got on the bus, Kyrie and Mookie, a couple of guys were late for a bus ride. So they got on the bus, and the bus was packed, and people were fighting over seats. So I said, did you guys go to class today? No, Coach. I said, get off the bus. They looked at me like, I said, get off the bus. Get your stuff and get off the bus. Like, are you serious? Yeah, get off the bus. So they turned around, and I think there were 3 of you, weren't there? No, 2 of you, just you 2, Kyrie. So then I start going down the line. Jalen, did you go to class? So everybody knows what I'm doing. Yeah, I went to class, Coach. Jalen probably didn't go to class, but he knew I was going to kick him off the bus. And he said, yeah, I went to class. I get to Jake. Jake, did you go to class? No, Coach. Get your stuff and get off the bus. Are you serious? Yeah, get your stuff and get off the bus. You're not going. Everybody else is like, why'd you tell him no? Just say yes. He doesn't know. So he's a little too honest sometimes, but Jake's a good dude. Jared. He's a good kid. Great team player. If you've watched our season, Jared had a huge year for us. One of the, not to throw you under the bus, Jared, but one of the best things that happened to our team was Jared getting hurt. He got a concussion, and because Jared played like 35 minutes a game for us, played a lot of minutes, and when he got hurt, our other bigs had to step up, and they stepped up really big, and then they finished the year off really big when Jared get in foul trouble. So, but Jared had a huge year for us. Ian McLaughlin. Ian is the only 6'7" brother that can't dunk. Okay.
True fact.
True fact. So we have if you're familiar with dunking, there's a windmill. So all the guys after practice, they try to dunk. So you windmill it, big old circle with the ball. Ian has a tough time dunking, period. So we got a little $50 bet that in 2 months he can windmill. I'm like, that's easy money. Easy money. So he's been in the gym every night trying to windmill. Pete Middlemore. So Pete is a little bit about Pete. Pete is the backbone of our team. He really is. He's a walk-on. Works his tail off. You know, we had 15 guys beginning of the year, so Pete's all set up in his locker. I don't want to throw Pete under the bus, but then we picked up a couple other extra guys. we brought Mookie in late, and Pete said, "Hey, Mookie, you can have my locker." So he just leaves his locker, and he's just in a chair in the locker room, doesn't have a locker. Then we brought Alfonso in semester. We don't have enough jerseys. Here, you can have my jersey. He's just all about the team, do whatever he can to help the team, and he can out-dunk Ian. Next is Seth Christians. And Seth was one of the big ones that benefited from Jared getting hurt. Seth came out and played unbelievable for us down the stretch. Obviously in the stretch that Jared was hurt, but in this tournament, Seth was absolutely ridiculous. 6'11", protecting the rim. If you've seen anybody protect the rim, I don't know if you can do it as good as Seth. Portland has about a 6'7" kid that jumps from half court and dunks it. Literally last year, he jumped from about the free throw line and dunked on one of our guys. And we showed all these guys film on it. Well, he got a breakaway against us, and Seth was the only one back, and we just looked at each other like, okay, what's going to happen? Because this kid's going to try to dunk on Seth. And Seth met him about a foot above the rim and just beat it up, just blocked it. And really, Coach G said after the game, that was the momentum and the turning point of our game, because they had a little momentum, and that just took the wind out of their sail. If he gets that dunk, they get rolling. And that just took the wind out of their sail. The whole gym you could just hear a pin drop. They're like, that white dude just got up there a foot and a half above the rim and blocked him. So it was pretty amazing play. Obviously, we've talked about him a lot. Charles Williams. Huge asset to us and to our program. He's capable of getting 8-10 assists. He's capable of getting 15-20 points. He's capable of doing just about anything, but he does whatever the team needs him to do. And for us, it was guard the best player every night. He literally had the job of guarding the best player every night, and he did a pretty good job of it. So Charles was huge for us. And then the motor behind our team, Jalen Burkett. If you've seen Jalen, there's only one speed, and it's 150 miles an hour. Okay, we always talk about Jalen. Sometimes he doesn't know what we're supposed to be doing, but he's going to do it hard. And he does a great job. He had some huge rebounds for us. We have our, not to pick on Jalen, we have our offenses that we run, and we have our Jalen offenses that we run. Okay, we have plays called Jalen. What else?
Red J.
Red J. So things that we run for him. So but he played well. He had a huge year for us, and helped us win a championship for sure. So you talk to a couple of the guys. First, we'll start off with Jalen.
This experience has been great. One thing I want to start off by saying is tradition never graduates. So, and what that means for me is we had a lot of guys from the past make a huge impact on our culture and how we do things. Family didn't start with me, it started with those guys a long time ago. How they run their program, how we show up and battle. We spend a lot of times together, we grow together, and just playing for this team and this program, I learned a lot from these guys. I learned just growing up and how to handle certain situations and being a man. I learned a lot from Coach Coeur, his family, his kids, and everyone else that's a part of this. So this was big for our community and us. We really worked hard for this, and these guys deserve it just as much as us because they put in a lot of time and effort, and it takes a lot to make this happen. So I was just glad that I'm a part of it, and it's special. So thank you guys.
Chuck, you got something to say? Come on, man. Don't say anything bad about me. My boss is in the room.
Coeur, he's a terrible coach. So. I'm just playing. I love that man. Honestly, this group. Let's talk about this group. Coming in, I was high on this group because I knew we had a lot of talent, and me and Coeur, we had our differences, but it's amazing to think that now we're NWAC champions. And with that being said, I mean, I'll tell this story with a little bit of vagueness, but at the beginning of the season, I have a decent car or whatever, so I needed an oil change. So I went. I went to get my oil change, and it got changed, and I left. And so I left, and it's like, man, my pocket's still fat. I was like, oh, I didn't pay for it. So I continued on, and you know, of course, Coeur knows everybody. So a couple days later, Coeur calls me to his office. He's like, "So you got your oil change?" It's like, "Yeah." Did you pay for it? It's like, no. So ever since then, I thought Coeur, he hates me now. I'm just some typical some typical kid to him. But once that situation happened, honestly, that changed my life, because G and Coeur, they disciplined me like my mother would have, and for that, I thank them, because I wouldn't have made the decisions further in life that I have made, better decisions, because of that situation. And I mean, that was just something that really stuck with me. So along with that, I mean, I love these guys. Like, we've all been through stuff, you know, family situations, things on and off the court, but we all stuck together. And I mean, it was great. Just speaking on another piece, like, I struggle with confidence on the floor, but bringing Alfonso in, he'd always talk to me on the bench. He'd always talk to me after games, just telling me what I need to do better, what I can work on to help this team. And I mean, it was just great having him on the bench and just being in my ear, being in somebody's ear. And I was that guy for Sammy last year, and I mean, it was just great. I was just grateful to have somebody like that in my ear, and I'm just grateful for this team.
I'm not sure. Al and Dick would probably correct me. We were celebrating too much to hear the all tournament teams, but I know Ashanti made one of the teams, right?
Yes.
Was it the first team?
First team, most inspirational.
He was most inspirational player of the tournament and first team all tournament. Ashanti, come on up here. I know you got something to say. The best thing about Ashanti, come here, man. I ain't gonna hurt you. The best thing about Ashanti is he left the dark side. He was at CSI last year and transferred to us. So he left Coach Fay and CSI and came up here to win a championship because he knew they couldn't do it down there.
I just want to start off by saying thanks to the coaches for coaching us, me personally. They helped me a lot. They helped us a lot. These guys, these group of guys are different in a good way. Like, I had to get used to it. I'm not even gonna lie. I had to get used to hanging out with some of these guys, and now I like them.
What about Jake?
Me and Jake didn't get along to start off. not too well. He lives with me, so I had to learn how to get along with him. So we get along now, but in the beginning we had some problems, but got them situated. No more problems in the house. Yeah.
A couple things too. One thing about these guys and the group of guys they are, so they live off campus. They live up off Ramsey in an apartment complex, and obviously me and G are on speed dial if anything goes wrong, because they know who to call. But we've had a few calls here and there. They're 18 to 20-year-old kids, but we've actually received multiple emails and phone calls from neighbors talking about how nice of kids they are, how courteous they are, and that to us is more about what our program is than this kind of stuff. So it's big for us to teach the life lessons and teach these guys how. I mean, I don't know, G, how many times? Probably half a dozen times I had Ashanti in my office about ready to send him home. Literally. Okay. Ashanti's high school coach played at NIC. He's an NIC alumni and really good buddies with me and G. And we had him on the phone at least half a dozen times saying, hey, come get him. He's going home. We're not going to deal with him. And we would just keep working with Ashanti on just little things. But he finally bought into the team and bought into what was going on and had a huge year for us. Okay, he only averaged 7 a game, I think, 8. We had multiple games of 20 in the tournament when we needed them. You know, I always tell the guys, I'm a big quote guy, and one of my favorite quotes for him is, big players play big in big games. Anybody go out and play good when you're not playing anybody. But the cream rises to the top, and big players play big in big games. And Ashanti had that big game, and after the game he said, Coach, big players play big in big games. It's a big game. Like, I'm a big, he made sure he let me know that he was a big player. So anybody else? Any other guys got anything to say? Tyler? Come on, man.
I'm good, man.
Huh?
Thank you. I'm good.
All right, come on, Ray.
Show us what that speech class is doing, Ray.
Come on, Ray. So we'll bring Ray Kwan up. So everybody, you know, come on over, man. My wife's a teacher. A lot of you guys are teachers. You know, they always talk about teachers' pets. The guys try to convince us that Ray's our teacher's pet. Connor always has things. Oh, what does Ray want to do, Coach? Okay. You know, we'll say, hey, Gene, where are we going to go eat? Connor will say, I don't know. Where does Ray want to eat? It's all about Ray. It's all about Ray. So we mess with Ray a lot, give him a hard time, but he was a huge piece to our success this year. We went in and got him. He'd signed at another school, and he was thinking twice about doing it. So we contacted Ray. For tell you a little bit about the back history, we contacted Ray and said, hey, would you be interested in coming to North Idaho? Yeah, maybe. And I said, well, can we come over and talk to you? He said, yeah, come on over. I said, we'd love to sit down with you and your mom. Yeah, no problem. So we, me and G jump in the car, and Coach Chris back at the time, and we drove all the way to Billings, and we showed up to practice and we introduced ourselves to Ray and said, hey, where's your mom? He's like, yeah, let me call her. Hey, Mom, there's some coaches here to talk to you. So Mom shows up to the office, has no idea that we're there to talk to her, has no idea that he's thinking about not going to the school he already said he was going to. And we spent, about 2 hours in there talking Mom off the ledge. She was not happy with you or us. But now I think she's pretty happy. Huh?
Yeah.
So he had a huge year for us. Ray was the MVP of the tournament. MVP of the tournament. His total average in the 4 games was 34 points a game. Opening night, he had 27 points, 13 rebounds, 8 assists, and 7 steals, almost a quadruple double. Finished up our double overtime win with 47 points, 41 of those in the second half. Then what do you have, the third game, 28 or something, then finished that last game with 27 and 28 and 22 in the second half. So him and Ashanti had 50 points in the second half of this game when we were down 20. So they stepped up and played really big. So I'll let him talk a little bit. I know he doesn't like to talk.
I just want to start by thanking the coaches and my teammates. They give me the confidence to play the way I do. If you're around this group, you'll get gassed, as they say, and that means like you'll get hyped, you'll get talked about, all that stuff. So, I mean, it was a hard transition getting to understand this group and the different personalities, because I mean each one is unique in their own way. I mean, that's why I love you guys. and I mean that. They may think I'm joking, but I mean that. And I can tell that I really love this group because, like, for example, when I went home for Thanksgiving, like, it wasn't the same being away from these guys. Like, I look forward to coming back and hanging out with these guys and being with my team. So, yeah, they gave me the confidence. Coaches gave me the confidence to do what I can. It was a hard transition because I like to pass, and I would get yelled at for not scoring. So, I was scared to get yelled at, so I kind of felt like I needed to score. And then that kind of led to some outcomes. But I mean, this was a great year, and I hope that next year this group can do the same thing.
Bram, you sure?
I'm good, thank you.
You don't like to talk. Huh?
Just sort of walking.
Oh, he says he's too sore to walk up there. Yeah. We don't want Ian up here. We'll be here till 3 o'clock. Ian, you got anything?
Put it on the snap.
You can put it on. You can come up here and take a selfie with everybody. Ian's all about social media. all about social media. So he Snapchats more than my daughter. So we just want to thank all you guys for everything. Our recruiting has been blowing up. Obviously, our sophomores have a lot of recruiting going on, and a lot of stuff. Oh, this is the fun part.
Look at little Junior. Oh, that's Bill? Dang.
Yeah, Jared is a little bigger than I am. He didn't hear me say that.
I really felt bad because after we watched this, our president was at the game and he kept following me around trying to shake my hand, and I didn't know he was following me, and I was just giving everybody hugs. And on film, I'm like, uh-oh, he was trying to get my attention, and I was kind of running from him. But yeah, this is an exciting moment. We'll finish off maybe with finish my thing off with the interview. No?
You can. Yeah, go ahead.
Richard? You want to show the post-game interview?
Oh, I'll get it later, though.
Oh, okay.
We'll show that later.
Okay. It's all out. Thank you again for all your support. Like I said, it truly, this stuff is not easy to do, and it truly is a huge part of the success from everything you do. I mean, just people in this room, I don't want to leave anybody out, but just people in this room. Randy and TJ, how many miles have you put on with this in the last 2 years? I literally put him on my coaching staff as a volunteer assistant through the school because he drives us all over the country. He's willing to do anything. He'll do anything for these guys, right, fellas? TJ's the man. Obviously the pals. Every time we get on the road, I don't know how we're not all 300 pounds. They give us goodie bags with all sorts of stuff in them, and they do 25 goodie bags every time we get on the road and feed these guys, and the guys love all the snacks and they take care of us. And every Saturday morning the Wolves are in the breakfast room making breakfast for us before game days, and boosters are in there making food for us. So it is really a family event. We really truly appreciate the Booster Club and what you guys do for our program, so thank you.
Well, Coach talked about this being a long-time tradition, and want to welcome a few people that are here in the audience. We were back at the national tournament a couple of years ago. President Dunlap and his wife came back there for what was supposed to be the journey to the national title, and unfortunately we got knocked out first day, but I called Joe just to let him know we were in Everett for the region championship, and he was all ready to come up there and watch us play. So I want to welcome Joe for coming back here, President Dunlap. We're also getting text messages from members of the President's Cabinet, and like he mentioned, our President was there, and he was so nervous during that ball game, he was taking pictures of the scoreboard the entire game and sending it out to members on PC because they couldn't log on, so they didn't know what the score was of the ball game. So he sent about 50 text messages out there letting people around the country and our community know what was going on for the ball game. But he had a meeting today. He wanted to say congrats to the team. He couldn't be here today, so he says nice job for you all. Thanks for representing us well. But I want to bring up our board chair, Ken Howard, to say a few words. I want to welcome him as well too. He's been following this team for years and want to have him say a few words to you guys.
Thanks for the promotion, Al. I'm not chair, though.
You used to be chair. You always be chair in my
right. Yeah. I did want to take a couple minutes and, on behalf of the Board of Trustees, thank you. You members of the basketball team have brought great honor and great privileges to us as a community. As a trustee, you stand for election. Statute says that you have to set up a budget, you have to have meetings, and you appoint and run the college and make sure that everything's running right. And when we have a meeting, we might have 5 people show up if there's an exciting agenda item. There's thousands of people that are excited about watching you, and they watch you not just when you're on the court, but they watch you when you're off the court. And you make us proud. On behalf of the trustees, I want to make sure that you know that not only as players, but as citizens and as students and as members of NIC, You make us proud, and I want to thank you for that. It's not just the championship, it's the way you conduct yourselves, it's the way that you represent yourselves and represent this college. This community is a tight-knit community. It enjoys sports, but it really enjoys success. I guess I want to say to the coaches that we really not just appreciate what you do in terms of bringing us championships, but in helping turn out some great citizens. We know the kind of work that you do in terms of making sure that they not just learn basketball, but they learn how to be great citizens, and I want to thank you for that. And some of that, you can hear that in the players that came up here today. I mean, you can sense exactly what they've learned and what they've gained from their experiences here. So, coaches, thank you very much. NWAC champions. God, that sounds good. Let's do that again next year. Thank you.
Thanks, Ken. Just want to make sure you all get a chance to look at the trophy. This is a traveling trophy the NWAC gives to us. It's got all the champs from 1947 around here. We are the plaque we already got to put on there. Matter of fact, I almost was going to bring another plate there for this year, but I didn't want to jinx our team, but we got it put on already. So we have room to roll, we have room to grow, we have room to put a few more on there, but we're going to get one that will actually stay with us. But this banner will be putting up in our gym, so it's there for the weekend, so our all-stars can see it this weekend. This is our NWAC trophy. This is the third one we've gotten since we switched over to the NWAC. Coach Russell Grove got 2, women's golf as well as men's golf last year. So we're going to have to get a little bigger trophy case the way this is working right now, because I see it's fulfilling our dream to be the dominant program in the NWAC for years to come. So it's been fun having all of you all come out here. It's been a fantastic year. For those that haven't heard, softball's off to a great start as well. They're 10-1 and just threw a perfect game this past week. So it's kind of nice to see us doing the dominance like we thought we were going to do in the NWAC. But you know, this transition has been fun. You know, Coach Coeur and I, we've been together for 14 years now. We've sat in the office and talked about where we're going to go, what direction we were going to be, and he's been questioning about this whole conference, and to see us bring this home is really what it's all about. The success we've had here, the excitement when we saw the players, the fans come off out of stands just to acknowledge what they had done. Doesn't matter where you win a championship, if you do it the right way and compete hard and represent us well, that's what it's all about. So congrats to you and your program. You represent us well, you continue to do that, so you guys have done an outstanding job too. So thanks for all you've done for us. Continue that dream, make sure you represent us well, keep us going, and the tradition continues at North Idaho College too. So thanks for all you've done for us. Thanks for coming out here. Couldn't do it without the wonderful fans and boosters and supporters that we have here too. So you make it all special. That's why you have the nice turnout that we have here too. So good luck, congrats on the season, and you got a few more words you say?
Just one last thing I forgot, talking about tradition, go grab a spokesman review tonight. Brian Angola's in the paper today. He faces Gonzaga on Thursday in the Sweet 16. So me and my wife had to run, but me and my wife are flying down to LA tomorrow to watch Brian play Gonzaga.
We also, like you mentioned, the tradition. BJ Blake, who was here with us, part of that undefeated team, he was first team all-conference in the Big Sky this year, representing us well. Sammy Dobbs down there at Idaho State this year has been acknowledged as the NCAA Division I. He got the award for the most courageous player in the NCAA Division I. He'll be represented at the NCAA Final Four next weekend. He was just here on our campus. Like you said, the players that have gone off, we had everybody's going to have a fantastic year. So the tradition is continued. They keep in touch. They represented us. They sent players to us that wouldn't otherwise have come here. Players like Alfonso's referring us to players. It's been a family. It always will be a family. We just make sure that we represent you all well. And so, Coeur, I'm proud of all you and your staff have done. It's been a fantastic year. We had that Come to Jesus meeting a couple of weeks ago, and it was just nice just to, we were so close to not making the playoffs that the league was so afraid of us, they actually changed the rules of how to qualify for the playoffs the day of our last game. They realized the way the playoff format was going to work. It was supposed to be you're going to play a play-in game if there was a three-way tie. And when the coaches in the league realized that, hey, if there's a three-way tie and we don't have a play-in game, by the way the seedings work, NIC won't make it. So 2 hours before the game was going to start, our last game of the season versus Wenatchee, they changed the rules and put it on the website and said, no, this should have been put in place 6 years ago, we just forgot to put it up there. Pure coincidence, it would have been us out of the playoffs. We had a nice meeting with the team before that, and we had a nice come to Jesus talking to everybody, and we talked about just coming to heart, representing us well. I remember one comment I made that I look back and laugh now when I was kind of going in the room making some comments and talking about playing a little bit tougher. And I pointed one player out and I said, stop using that damn European crossover. And I was talking about a shot that he just left now, but that's his, he always travels, he always get a foul called or offensive foul. And I can say that's the worst move in basketball. He used that move about 4 times in the playoffs, in the championship, and they all went in. Every time he scored, look at me in the stands and say, the European crossover works. But it was just neat to see this team rally around that, from being one 40-minute game away from not making the playoffs. And Coeur said the goal start of the year was to win 25 games, and I guess after they won that game to make the playoffs, that was their 21st win. Only way to make that goal to be 25 was to go out and win 4 straight and get his 25 wins for the season. So he met that goal. For the 4 years in a row that Coeur's been the head coach, they've won on an average of at least 25 games a year. So that's a pretty good run, probably the best run we've had in the history of North Idaho College men's basketball. So kudos to you and your staff. The pressure's high. You raised the bar. Keep it going, Coach. Nice job. Great season. NWAC champions. North Idaho